Well, here we are at an interesting crossroads because I uploaded a video the other day about my external hard drives and how much of a pain they've been and how much I've been going through to get these drives to work. And I thought the nightmare was over. I'm going to flip this around. I managed to get all the data that I thought I could get off the drives. I went ahead and tried to format them, but I didn't have enough time to do a full format, so I essentially just erased the drives and formatted them to like 8%, then deleted the partition. So I really don't think Seagate's going to do anything or want the data on my drive anyway. So here's the thing. I go through all that trouble to get these drives ready. I get them out the door. I think I'm golden. I started doing some YouTube video editing. I was sorting through some files, and then my computer starts to act up. And at first I thought, well, that's a little strange. It was doing something similar to when that hard drive before was starting to go bad. So I decided to reboot and woke the computer back up, tried to open up Explorer, and I ran into the same problem again, where Explorer was unresponsive. It was trying to load all the icons for the drives. It was trying to populate the list of drives, and it wasn't able to do that. So then eventually it got to the point where it would just lock up. So I rebooted it again. Same thing. Then I rebooted it one more time. And after I did that, I would listen to the drives. I mean, they're right here. You can see where they are. They're just sitting, 2 feet maybe away from my main position here at the desk. And I could listen to the drive spooling up. So I'm used to that sound. So when I was listening to it, I noticed that one drive sounded just fine. Then the second drive made this weird, it started to spool up the normal way, and then it made this extra like crunchy, grindy, not like a metallic grindy, but just like a lower sounding, I don't even know how to explain it. The seek pattern sounded like it was making a lower frequency. In other words, it was different than what it was before. And that started to scare me because that's the exact same thing that happened to my other drives. And at this point, I'm starting to panic. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I just got this going. What in the world? So then I decided to see if I can do the C tools on them. Well, the C tools on my main machine would not run. It gave me a device discovery error. And I tried uninstalling it, reinstalling it, rebooting it, and it just kept doing the same thing. Now, a couple of times on the reboot, I could see the drives, and they would get the drive letters and get the right icon, and then I can access the drives, but I couldn't run the C tool, so I thought that's a little strange. So I got my trusty netbook out, and I was able to run C tools off of that one. So the short, the basic, the short test, they all came back fine. And that's the long generic, I think is what it was called. So I ran the long test, and it failed. Both drives. I don't understand. I can't explain the sinking feeling that I got when I realized that after this last backup, I was in such a hurry to get these drives out the door that all I did was copy them to one drive. I didn't go through the trouble of backing up to both drives. So one drive has an extra 500 gigs on it, and of stuff that I've sorted through from some other places, and then the main drive is 2.7 terabytes. So now they're both giving me the same errors in the C tools, which is basically that they're failing. I contacted Seagate. I told them what was up. They said, hey, no problem. Your drives are under warranty. The drives haven't been awake for more than 21 days. And so they said, hey, it's no problem. It's under warranty. We're gonna go ahead and replace them. But before we do that, there were some issues that we've just found out about C tools. If you go to the website, they have a link that says download version 1.4.0.2. But when you download the file and you install it, it actually installs 1.2.0.10, which is an older version. And apparently this older version is misreporting drive failures. So they said, hey, let me get you with a tech to see if we can swap that out or get you the latest version of the software. So after a little bit of back and forth, Taylor is the person I ended up working with, very nice person. They were able to get me the file. We installed it. They remoted in. we tried to run the C tools on there. Here's the problem. The drives are now becoming so unresponsive that the C tools can't even run. If I disconnect the drives and then run them on my other external or internal drives, it works just fine. But when I go to plug in the Seagate drives, it basically makes it crash. Sometimes it'll run for a while, and then you go to select the two drives you want, and then you hit the start test and nothing happens. So we're running out of options here as far as the tools go. They're going to replace the drives, but now I'm in this state of I don't have a backup for my backups. That's 2 drives. This is a total of 4 drives now, these Seagate drives that have just died, and I don't understand why. Every other hard drive that I've plugged into this thing works just fine. Internal, external, it doesn't matter. It's these Seagate 3 terabyte drives. I don't know what it is, but they just keep dying on my system. And I went through what I thought was every effort. You know, you have adequate spacing. Obviously, that's the spacing that they come with. I have a fan running on them because they do run hot. I bought this USB 3 hub thinking that maybe it was something funky with the USB 3 on my board. It does have USB 3 boost capabilities, so it does use UASP for these drives. And for a while I was not using it. It was just using it in normal mode. But the data transfer speeds were it was just annoying. They weren't going as fast as I knew the drives could go. So I put the UASP back on it, and I thought it was fine. Anyway, that leads me to my next thing. They're going to go send me 2 brand new replacements for these. And then you ask yourself, well, you're putting yourself in the same position as you were before, because now you have 2 more Seagate drives, 3 terabytes, same models. And I tried to see if I can get something else, internal drives, but they said, no, policy is like for like. So I'm fine with that. And the reason is, I decided that I'm not going to stick with using the Seagate drives as my primaries anymore. I'm going to use them as my backups. So you'll see here in a second. What I ended up doing was getting this. A MyCloud 4 terabyte personal cloud hard drive from Western Digital. And I still have to do a little more research on this. This is really just one of those like, oh my goodness, I'm freaking out. I need to go buy something. I didn't want to get another Seagate drive just for the experience that I've had so far, but I wanted to get, well, I guess I wanted to get a Western Digital drive. I went to Best Buy. Like I said, I could have ordered all this online and probably would have been better off, but I needed to get this started tonight because I don't trust having my data sitting on those drives any longer than they have to be. So here's the plan. That is a total of 6 terabytes, but I'm using them as a fake RAID 1. So one was supposed to be backing up the other, but I haven't configured that yet. I could do that with 2 internal drives, but I've already invested on 2 external drives. They're still under warranty. I don't want to crack the cases open. So what I was thinking of doing was, okay, what if I had a hard drive, a NAS drive, that had the ability to control another drive or another set of drives, and then use those drives as a backup to the internal internal drive, whatever capacity I got. Well, when I went to go look at the MyCloud, they had this one and then MyCloud Mirror. And there's a couple of things to discuss about this. The first thing is that this drive is it's a single drive. The MyCloud Mirror is a RAID drive, and you can use it in several RAID configurations. But the dilemma was that they only had a 4 terabyte version at Best Buy. I went over to Office Depot next door, and they didn't have anything network attached. It was just a couple of hard drives internal, and everything else came in a box that said special order. So I'm like, I can't wait. I'm such need to get this out of there. So I thought, okay, let me compare these. All right, so here's the dilemma with this. It's got its pros and it's got its cons. The first thing is you can't plug this in directly to your computer. It just has to be attached to your network. I have a gigabit set up here, and obviously throughput will be impacted, and you think to yourself, well, dude, you know, you go through all this effort to get USB 3 configured, and then you're just going to lose that with this. Well, yes and no. It's a single drive, so it's only the 4 terabytes. It's not going to be my single point of failure because, if you look here, oh, here we go. it's got a USB 3 port. And from what I read, this USB 3 port can accept up to 7 external drives. You can put flash drives in here, you can put portable hard drives, or in my case, the Seagate drives into this. It doesn't matter. And some reviews were saying it really doesn't matter what its format of the drive is. It'll recognize it. The second reason I wanted to go with this was because of the disk software. What's it called? The Smart Disk something or other. It uses the same software as their enterprise version network attached devices use. So it monitors the drive, it checks the health of the drive, you can check the temperature and all that stuff of the drive, and it's just more granular. I guess it's more aware of what's going on with the drive. And the second thing is, when you plug up another drive to this, that drive then becomes network accessible. So this drive can mount the other drive or drives in a way so that all I have to do is connect to this one, and this one is maintaining, or I should say connecting the other ones and sharing the other ones. Sure, throughput's going to get a hit, but my thought was this is an archive situation. The only reason I'm sweating about speed now is because I have so much data to move. But once all that data is done, sorted out and copied, then I don't really need speed anymore. I'm just archiving. So, and this also has the added bonus of being able to connect it to UPnP, DLNA devices. So Xboxes can connect to this, and PlayStations and smart TVs. I don't know if it'll do Apple TV. One review said that it didn't, but I don't know how long ago that review was. So it does have some added features. Plus, you can connect to it through other mobile devices. So you can connect to it from your laptops, iPads, iPhones, and you have varying degrees of usability with that. But the point is, you can connect to it. That's all fine and dandy. It's extra, but when I connect this to the other drives, this is the other thing that sold me on this one as opposed to the other one, the just regular MyBook. When you plug in a drive to this, you can tell this drive to back itself up to the other drive. It's like a poor man's RAID. It is scheduled to do that, and you can adjust the intervals and all that. But you can plug in this external hard drive, which is what I'm planning on doing, is just plugging this straight to this and say, hey, copy your contents over to this drive. Then you ask yourself, well, dude, you could so do that with internal drives. As a matter of fact, that motherboard will support RAID. That's a Rampage 4 gene in there. And all you have to do is get 2-3 terabyte drives, and then boom, you have your RAID set up, and you don't really have to worry about that. That's true. If I would have looked at it and bought 2-3 terabyte drives, there would have been like $200 and something. It was a little bit over 200 and what is it? They're like 119 or something at Best Buy, so 240. I paid $200 for this, and this gives me 1 extra terabyte, and also the ability to monitor, well, connect other drives to this. So now this one can attach to those. And remember, I'm not going to break those open. These are brand new. They came in their nice little clean boxes. I still even have the wrapping on them. These are brand new drives, so I didn't want to just throw this solution away for the sake of having 2 internal drives. Ultimately, though, this is going to, I would say this would be a short-term solution. I want to try it out, see how it is, and if I like it, then I'll see how much use I can get out of it. If I don't think it's going to be usable, then I may just have it as just a main backup drive, and then just as a backup to whatever other solution I decide to go with here. So right now I'm just adding to what I have. You know, I could have gotten, right now at this point I could have gotten a 6 terabyte, but I need the redundancy. This is the perfect example why. You think you have it here with 2 drives, and it's not the case. Both drives are failing. Both have given me bad LBAs or bad blocks, and hundreds of them. I can pull up the logs. They're actually on this machine here, but I just don't understand how that could have happened. when I first got these drives, I did run the full test before I did anything, and they were fine. And then sitting here for 21 days, now they're not. So we're going to go ahead and pop this open and set it up and start transferring data and see how she does.